Well, everybody, and welcome back to this evening edition of Trick Podcast of Joy and Gozo TV on this lovely evening, Monday night. How are you guys? Hope that your evening has been awesome. I've had a great day working on my car is down. It's got some, I think it's just the battery, I hope, but that's been annoying because I really don't want to deal with it. And it's just, I hate when things break, especially cars, right? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Oof. But I'm trying to get all that fixed and worked out so that, speaking of that, so I can go work out and actually get my body moving in the right direction. Because, man, that's been a while. It feels like it's been 10 years since I worked out. And, of course, eating Jelly Bellies. And what else did I have? Oh, yeah, Indian food, which was amazing. That doesn't help. But trying to get my act together. The good news is that I feel like a lot of other things in my life are falling into place, including my beat making business and what I'm doing with music production. And so I actually wanted to talk to you tonight about the 4 steps that I've learned to making beats and for music production, in case you are a musician or a rapper or a producer, or you may not even know anything about that, but you've always wanted to know kind of what is it that music production is all about. What is it that I do with beats and how do I actually produce them? So by the way, if you haven't heard any of my beats, you can just go to youtube.com and type in my name and you'll see all my beats. I've made maybe 100 beats, maybe more. Definitely has been a great learning experience. And so I hope you like them. They're mostly, I would say 99%. Actually, all of them are hip hop type of stuff. So if you've heard any of Drake's songs like God's World, is that what it's called? Yeah. And of course, Travis Scott, Astro World, maybe that's what I'm thinking. And even just this last weekend, a rapper named Logic dropped an album called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, I think is what it's called. Great stuff. I don't like all the weed smoking and all of the F-bombing and all that stuff. But if you look behind the surface of some of that stuff, there's a lot of great truth. Especially, I think Logic's work talks a lot about anxiety and mental health and what happened to Mac Miller. And so I like the musicians who are more honest about their lives, obviously. So, but as far as the actual making of beats, I started that about 6 months ago. So it hasn't been that long, but I've come a long way in 6 months. Dedicated myself just to kind of squeeze it in whenever at 2 a.m., at 6 a.m., at whenever I can, just to kind of work on beats, learning, spending a lot of time, money, definitely effort to become a good producer. And I feel like after 6 months of beat making plus 40 years of music production and just being a musician has helped me to have beats that sound pretty good. So maybe I'll even go to my YouTube page here really quick and play a few of them for you. That might be a good thing to do. So let me just get out there to YouTube land and see if I can play a few of my beats for you. I think it'll come across. If you're on Instagram, I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but I think you'll be able to hear it anywhere else. So let's see. I'll play you. This one is actually called Classic EDM Type Beat. And let's see. Is it playing? I think it is playing, but I don't think you can hear it, right? I don't think so. I'm not sure why you can't hear it. It is playing. Let me try one more thing here. Maybe this will help. Let's see. There it is. Yeah. Okay, so you can hear it, right? Gives you a little sample. Okay, so let me play you one more just so you can get a taste for it. This is a lo-fi Mac Miller type beat called Trusting You Hurts. So check this one out. Okay, well, so those are a little bit of the type of beats that I've been making for the last few months. And so I wanted to give you 4 tips if you ever wanted to get into music production, beat making. It doesn't have to be rap, trap type stuff. It could be whatever you want, whatever you're into. But I specifically have been making trap beats. So if you are into that, or if you know someone, you have a grandson or a friend or someone or a son that is into hip hop, I mean, it is the number one genre these days, and it's been for the last 10 years. Or maybe your kids are into BTS, any of these kind of K-pop bands. They all use trap music. I mean, even if it's Ariana Grande and even country music. I don't like country, but I've heard that even country music is using trap beats. So basically, this is like the new classical music or hymns of modern day era, meaning these principles that I want to teach you are the basics of pretty much any song that is being written today. So this is pretty amazing. And because I love music, I've gotten a chance to learn it and master it just in the last 6 months. So number one, it's you have to have a computer, a software, and a pair of headphones. That's the basics of the production part of things. So we'll start with just production. What do you need in terms of instruments? Guitar, drums? Nope, you don't need any of that. I would say that for under $500, excluding your computer, assuming you have a computer and an internet connection, you can do this for under $500. So here's how. Number one, assuming you have a computer, a laptop, doesn't have to be the latest, greatest, just any laptop, let's say 10 years and newer. You need to download, you can go to Ableton Live, and they have a free demo of a software called Ableton Live. Download that. It's free for the demo. Yeah, you can't save. There are restrictions on it, but I think for 30 days you can pretty much use it fully. And then, of course, after that, you have to buy it if you like it. But for 30 days, you can demo it and learn the basics of that software. Now, there's also another one called FL Studio, which stands for Fruity Loop Studio. And that one is only $99. And they also have a 30-day demo. So you can demo all of these pieces of software, and begin to learn how to make beats on a free software. Third is if you have a Mac, you have GarageBand. And GarageBand is a free software, no demo, that you can use for the rest of your life. And you can use it starting today to make beats with the principles that I will teach you. Another piece of software that isn't expensive, it's only, I believe it's $200, is called Logic Pro X. And that's also made by Apple. It used to be made by another company, but then Apple bought it a few years ago. So Logic Pro, and then now they have Logic Pro X, meaning the 10th version, is only a couple $100. I don't think they have a free demo. You have to buy it because, Apple. But once you have it, you're good to go. By the way, FL, going back to the demos, once you want to buy it, the basic version, which is all you need, is only $99, $100, and you are up and running. So the first step, if I don't want to get too into depth in terms of all these things, but the number one thing you need out of 4, one is you need a basic studio, which again, a computer, a software like the ones I mentioned, and headphones. Now, headphones, you can literally use your Apple earbuds. I don't recommend that because you're not going to get the full equalization or the full gamut of sounds, but you can start with just your Apple headphones. Plug them into your computer, and away you go. Okay, number 2 is you need to learn how to use that software. So I know this is kind of duh, right? But you can't just have the software and stare at it. You have to learn how to use the software. And this is where YouTube comes into play. That's how I learned. I spent 10,000 hours, 6 months learning by watching YouTube videos. Now, where do you go on YouTube? Well, there are, I would say, 5 or 10 top producers that offer free videos online so that you can go and learn all that they teach you. Now, yeah, you have to spend a lot of time. And I know that people don't have a lot of time, but that is how I did it. It's just spending thousands and thousands of hours learning, practicing, like I said, at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Sometimes I would stay up all night till 4 or 5 a.m. just working on a beat till I figured it out and mastered it. So you have to learn how to use a software, meaning how do you make a drum beat? How do you put together a melody? Do you use vocals? Do you use live instruments? All of those things is all part of learning the software, learning all of the different sounds of the software. So that's very important. So again, number one is you have to have the basics of a studio. Number two is you have to learn the software. Number three is you have to learn the basics of playing the piano. The basics of playing the piano. At the end of the day, this is music production. So you have to learn some basics of music. And I would say primarily you have to learn the basics of playing the piano. You don't have to be a concert pianist. I'm not. Yeah, I have maybe 10 years of piano experience, and I have learned from some of the best piano players ever, including some mentors that have doctorates in music that I've had a chance, and master's degrees in music that I've had a chance to just simply watch and just simply learn from how they do things. Plus, I've had lessons and all the rest. But anyway, for you, you don't have to do all that. But you have to learn the basics. And so maybe you took lessons when you were a little kid and you hated it. Maybe you loved it. Perhaps you've learned how to play the guitar. It doesn't transfer much, but at least you have some music knowledge under your belt. You may have grown up learning how to play the violin or the saxophone or the trumpet. At least you have some basic music theory knowledge. That will help you. But you have to learn how to play the piano. Here's why. All trap music these days, or all, I would say most of the modern music these days, is done on a computer with a keyboard. Now, I know that you may think, oh, that's not real. Trust me, it's real. Millions of downloads on Spotify is real. So you kind of got to get off your high horse, because I know I was on that high horse a couple of years ago thinking, oh, man, if it doesn't have a awesome backbeat and guitars and a Les Paul and you have to get away from that. Not away from it, but you have to grow and change with the times if you want to learn this whole thing. So again, 4 steps. Number 1 is you have to have a basic studio. Number 2 is you have to learn how to use that software. Number 3, you have to learn the basics of piano playing. And then number 4, and I think this is really, really important, is you have to learn how to actually put your music out there. Like, what do you do with your music? Now, for most people, my guess is they just want to enjoy it, right? They just want to play at home, or maybe just spend time learning these beats. But there might be some of you who want to maybe have this be an income stream, or you want to put a CD out there. You want to actually produce your own music for your friends, for your family. You want to make a mixtape. You want to do an EP or a full-length CD, or put your music on Spotify. I know that may be like, wow, way out there for some people, but I know I always wanted to do that, and I have my CD on Spotify. Back 6 years ago, I produced a whole CD with musicians and my songs and all the rest. And now I have all of my songs everywhere. On SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, everywhere. My music is everywhere, and I'm getting my name out there. I have students that I've trained and people that I'm mentoring. So you eventually want to learn what to do with your music. And so you want to learn how to get your music on YouTube. How do you put your music on Twitch or on Instagram? And then how to monetize. I hate that word, but just really, how do you build a business, or at least a little trickle of income through your music, if that's what you want. Now, a lot of people will say, well, I don't want that. I just want to have fun. Well, that's great. Of course, you don't have to get into this for money, but maybe you want to teach someday, like I'm doing, or maybe you just want to have fun. But remember that wouldn't it be nice if there was a quinceañera or a birthday party and What if you were the DJ for that party and you could bring your gear, your computer, a couple lights maybe, and boom, you're playing your own beats to 100 people or 50 people or 25 people, or maybe you have some summer party at your house and you play your music, or it's a listening party and you just simply play your music, or maybe you just want to send your friend your first track, and just, even though it's maybe you feel embarrassed and it's super horrible and all that, but you kind of take that risk to share it with somebody else. So anyway, those are the things that I think are the basics of music production, at least when it comes to trap music, and really not just even that, but just music today. Now, I had to go and learn all this stuff on my own, but I wanted to actually show you something that I just put together just the last few days that is called my Music Academy, where I'm going to teach you all the basics of all the things that I think you need in order to start making beats. So here's my website. I think you've seen it before, Mentor with Trig, and it has all these different things. When it comes to mentorship, I have a bunch of videos. I have my services. But down here, actually, no, up here, where it says Music Academy, I want to click on that. And I want to take you to this page called Music Academy. And right here, you will see this service that I'm offering that is very inexpensive, and you can sign up today, where I will teach you how to make beats like a pro. Learn the secrets of beat making. So I have different courses here. This one's called How to Build Your Own Studio. This one is called Master the Basics of FL Studio, Ableton, Logic, GarageBand, and Pro Tools. So these two are the most popular courses that I teach. Just how do you actually build your own studio? What kind of speakers, what kind of keyboard should you get? How much money? Obviously, no one wants to spend a lot of money, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't spend too much money, as I said, $500 max. But what if you want to take the next step? What should you look for? This one, I think, is the most important one. It's mastering the basics of FL Studio, Ableton. Now, if all these words are foreign to you, don't worry. I will teach you what they mean, what these different software, actually they call them DAWs, Digital Audio Workstation. So I will teach you what these DAWs do and don't do, the limitations, the pros and cons. And of course, once you buy it or download the demo, then I can just walk you through what these softwares do and how to actually make a beat. This is a very important course. This is maybe more advanced for some of you who might be at a more advanced level. This might be for maybe 3 months or 6 months down the line, is how to sell your beats. How to teach a course online, how to actually put your beats out there once you're good enough, of course. I mean, obviously, most of us feel like, oh, my music stinks, right? But once you feel more confident, and I obviously help you with that confidence, then you should consider selling your beats. So now here's kind of the price point, now starting at the lowest price ever. So you see the price there. It's very, very affordable monthly price. It's really the lowest price ever. I've had different price points for this because this is very, very awesome content and information that, now let me say, you can go and do this on your own. It'll just take you like, you will need to sacrifice some sleep if you want to do this the old fashioned way, or you can just sign up for my course and we can do it together one-on-one. And so that's the offer right there. You see it. You can click on this button right there and you can just see the next page that loads. Here it is, kind of what you get for that price point. And you can just click on this button here that says go for it. And then once you get to that page, then you can just kind of go through the cart and fill out the information, and you're on your way to starting this course. Now, there are also a few more classes that I offer in case you want more. I also offer basic music theory. I'm no doctor in music, but I have taken, as I said, 2 years of music school, and I have 30 years of experience. I play the piano, the guitar, drums, bass, guitar, of course, I think. So, and I'm a vocalist. I'm a trained vocalist. So I can teach you all the basics of music theory, just what you need for beat making, just enough for that. And then speaking of beat making, I show you how to actually make a beat, meaning the snares, the hi-hats, hi-hat rolls as they call them, the kick, all of that stuff. How to actually create the sounds and where to get the sounds to make a beat. I also teach a course on the piano basics. As I said, you probably should learn the basics of piano playing so you can feel more confident in your beat making. And then I think this is more advanced, mastering and mixing. This is kind of the fine-tuning aspects of beat making, is how to make the song really pop so that it's not muddy or too bassy or too loud, anything like that. And then this one, I almost forgot, this one's called Marketing Your Music. It's similar to how to make money with your music, but this is more specific to podcasting, YouTube, how to use Instagram to get your music out there, just connecting with your fans, and how to do that well. And then again, here's the sales part, the sales page, the low price, monthly price. You can sign up for just 1 month, or you can sign up for a whole year, depending on kind of what you want to learn. And then you can click on see the deal there. And then it takes you again to this sales page where you can go for it and sign up for this Trig Music Academy. So when you're ready, I would love to talk to you more about that. I have 2 people that I have coached. One was just an informal session that we had just the other day, just like 30 minutes, just kind of walking him through the basics of music making. And he loved it. I think he's probably thinking of buying his son maybe a studio and perhaps working with me, having his son work with me on some of the details of it. And then I actually had a young man who was a senior in high school who now is going, I think, to Berkeley School of Music, or perhaps locally UCLA. But anyway, I helped him with his senior project. And so he chose to have his senior project be the recording of his first CD. And so I specifically helped him with beat making, which was really awesome. And then the third connection that I had recently, which was really fun, was at the high school where our kids go to school. They had a senior project presentation. I had maybe 100 students or 50 students, a ton of these kind of the high achievers of the school. And they had their tables, and one of them had a beat making table. And so it was this young man, maybe 17 or 18. And I'm a 50-year-old man, and I go up to him and said, "Hey, is that FL Studio 20?" He's like, "Wow, how do you know that?" And we just got talking. And so for 5-6 minutes, we just had a great time just talking about beat making. And I think he was shocked that I knew what he was talking about. And I was shocked that he was doing that, because you don't always meet people in real life that are doing something that you're doing. So it was just really fun. And it gave me a chance to mentor, share, just, if anything, just have fun with someone who's doing the same thing that I'm doing. And I think that's the joy. At the end of the day, music is fun, right? Music is life. I mean, that's why I play music, because I love it. And I do it for God. I do it for all the good reasons. And, just because I love it. And I think you may want to consider taking this course because you love music. And maybe you're frustrated, or you're stuck, or you want to just learn something new. Maybe you've been doing the same thing for 30 years, 20 years, and you're kind of stuck in the past, and you're thinking, man, I wish I could learn how to do EDM or trap or house or all these different genres that are out there. And I can show you the basics. I can show you even the advanced stuff, because as I said, I'm pretty advanced in my beat making. And not to toot my own horn, but when I hear some of the beats that, let's say, Logic makes, or whoever his producer is on his latest album that just came out last week, I can honestly say that I know how to make every one of his beats. I mean, sure, there are some intricacies, some sampling, and obviously they're playing in $1 million studios, so there are some things that I don't have access to. But as far as the basic beat and how to get there and how to produce it, I know how to do that. And that's just because I've put in the work, and I'd love to share that with you. If you or your grandson or your friend or your husband or your son who's 15 and he's a high school junior or sophomore or senior, and he tells you, Grandma, I love music. And you're like, what do you mean by that? Well, maybe show him this link. I'll put the link to this whole thing here at the bottom of this video. Just send him the link and say, hey, does this sound like what you're doing? And if he's like, oh my goodness, how do you know, Grandma? Then you can maybe tell him about this music academy and we can help him out. So there are all kinds of opportunities, and I think all kinds of connections that you can make with your family just by telling them, hey, I know, have you ever heard of FL Studio? And if that person is into music making, they'll say, well, how did you know that, Mom? You're kind of cool. And you'll say, I don't know anything, but I know a guy who does. So you can do that. Or maybe your son or daughter doesn't really do any of this stuff, but you want them to. This summer, you want them to not just sit around and play on Nintendo or PlayStation or Game of Thrones or Netflix or YouTube or whatever. Kids today, they're stuck to their game boxes 24/7. Maybe you want them to actually use media for something productive, like making music. So this would be a good thing for the summer for them to get into, whether they are, I would say an age to start would be maybe 13 and above. Anything be younger than that, and they won't get the intricacies of beat making. But I would say 13 and over is probably a good age to learn kind of just how to make beats. So again, summer's coming. Do something fun with your kids, or if you are a young person, do something fun. Maybe you're not into it, but your boyfriend is, or you've heard him talk about music and I'm going to the studio, babe. And you're like, what the heck is that? Well, this is what he probably means. And so, not everyone's an artist. We're talking about 10, 20% of the population. So I know that you may not even get anything that I'm saying, but there might be someone in your life that is into it, or that plays saxophone, but they might be into Travis Scott or BTS or into Drake or Logic or Post Malone. And you're like, who in the heck are those? Don't worry. This is not necessarily for you to do or listen to, but they might be. And if so, and if they like music, they might want to learn how to make beats. So, well, there you go. Let me know if you're interested, especially I think for the summer. I have this sale that I just showed you going through June 1st. After that, all the prices will go up. They'll go up 25%. So you need to sign up now before the end of the month, because once the summer hits and everyone's going to want to sign up. So I want to give you kind of the first chance at it so you can sign up now. I know most people kind of are tied up right now. They're super busy. They don't have time for one more thing. Just save the link. Perhaps in a couple of weeks when you have more time, if the prices haven't gone up yet, then you can sign up at this lower price. And if they have gone up, then sign up anyway. It won't be that much more, but you can take advantage of that now, or save the link. Just maybe take a screenshot or put it on your phone, davidtree.com/Trig Music Academy, and you can come back to that link maybe in a few weeks once you have a little more time. And then you can show your son, your daughter, your boyfriend, your friend, the link, the website that I showed you, and you can see if they're interested. Okay, well, thanks so much. I will see you next time.